Welcome to FailCraft, the podcast where we dive into the messy, real side of success and explore how setbacks become the stepping stones to growth and clarity. I'm your host, Ezekiel Iferia, and today's guest is Philip Bacon, a marketing strategist with over 20 years of experience, who isn't afraid to talk about the messy side of growth. From getting fired to generating millions in leads, he used his own marketing skills to build a framework that cuts through the noise. He's here to share how focusing on the unsexy fundamentals, what he calls the potato marketing method, is the real secret to turning setbacks into sustainable revenue. So I feel welcome to the show. It's great to have you here today.
Thank you for having me on, Ezekiel.
All right, let's dive in. You have a wealth of experience, but one that's caught my attention was a chapter of your story you've shared. So can you take us back to that specific moment of getting fired? What did that immediate setback feel like for you professionally?
Fortunately, it was frustrating because I joined a marketing agency and they had given me a lot of freedom to explore the role, and I'd grown the role. In fact, I'd grown the role significantly upon arriving. I was there as an account manager, and within a few months, I was head of account management and also the head of social media for both the clients and the agency itself. They had no real social presence when I started, and they were giving social media management away for free to
Mm,
people who are paying a couple of £100 a month for their account for their other work. And stuff like this is insane. We're losing money here. These clients are costing us money to keep. So we either need to make them more valuable or we need to get rid. Especially when you're managing 100 plus clients for each account manager, it's unsustainable. So I went on, but I'd been given an opportunity to go for an interview for a role that I didn't want, but for a company that I wanted to meet the people behind it. So I had no intention of leaving. And they knew it. I was really, really open with them. I was like, look, I've got an interview. I don't want the job, but I do want to meet the people behind it because it's Ministry of Sound. I'm a DJ and it feels like a good idea to actually meet them. They're like, okay, great. That's fantastic. Really good for you. To the interview the next day, I walked in and I hadn't been able to get into my emails in the morning. I was like, okay, well, that's not unusual. Every now and again, our email passwords got reset en masse. So everybody had to come in and reset their passwords. Cool, not a problem. I walked in and there's all my stuff sat in a box in the boardroom, and I was pushed straight into the boardroom and basically pushed straight back out the door. Now, this was after I'd grown the social media part of their business from nothing to a solid 5-figure revenue every single month.
mm,
Just from customers we already had. This is the thing, we didn't even have to do anything to get them. This was just extra money every single month. Then I'm sat there thinking, well, hold on, this seems a bit harsh. But I haven't really got anything to argue with this, and they've obviously made up their mind. I'm frustrated. I'm going to get in the car and I'm going to go home because at that point I've then realised that they've also got to pay my notice period. My notice period was 2 months.
wow.
So to get rid of me, they actually had to pay quite a lot of money. I made a phone call on the way home to a friend of mine, and he was like, okay, come into the office on your way back. We'll have a coffee and a catch up. His office was on the way back to my house. By the time I got there, he basically turned around and said, well, you've got a job. I was like, what do you mean I've got a job? He's like, you can come work here. Be our marketing ops manager, ops director again. I'm like, well, I haven't got a job, so this seems like a good idea. Why not? He basically gave me the job to give me security for a few months while I got my head back together again and worked out what I wanted to do. I'd seen the inner operations of an agency at this point, and I hadn't seen the inner operations of an agency before that. And from what I could see, I'd made them more profitable while I was there. I'd opened up new revenue streams. So I'm like, well, if I can do it for somebody else, I can do it for myself. And I was sat there thinking, screw it, I'll do it for myself. I'm going to set up my own agency. I'm going to focus on the thing that they did, which is SEO. I'll focus on something different. And I focused my attention on the bit that I know really well, which is strategy. Because I
Mm,
can do, so I've got strengths in strategy across almost every discipline within marketing, up to a point where I know when to call out the bullshit when somebody's just making something up.
All right.
And that's that led me to sort of like going down this route of I'm going to start my own business.
Great.
There were a few hiccups along the way.
Yeah. Okay. So, Phil, what is the single most expensive or painful marketing mistake you made early in your career that taught you the most?
Most painful. So with the agency, probably the biggest, most expensive mistake was actually not checking my contract with the agency that I'd worked for before, because that basically put a stop on us launching. They hit me with a cease and desist very, very quickly after I launched the agency, which meant I spent months fighting that to try and get overturned because it was unreasonable. I ran out of time. I ran out of money fighting that one, and I had to go and get another job. Then I started doing some freelance stuff, despite the fact I'd been hit with a cease and desist. I carried on doing stuff anyway. I just did it a little bit more low key. I did some freelance stuff for a little restaurant, and the biggest fail I made there was not getting paid up front. And that has stuck with me the whole way through, is making sure that we get paid up front, because we're not there to bankroll somebody else's business. We have bills the same way that every other company has bills. We have staff to pay. Just because the impact of what we do can't be seen for months doesn't mean you don't pay. So making sure that we get paid up front was something that was a valuable lesson that I learned very quickly, because this client didn't pay. They did eventually, but it took at least 6 months to get the money out of them. And given that money I needed at the time was to basically keep me afloat, it wasn't ideal. And that was on a personal level. So, and some of the bigger ones I've made while actually in my career, there's been stupid little ones like not ordering enough marketing materials to go to a show with, not having backup technology. So we were doing a product demo on our stand at a show, and we got there, and I'd relied on the tech team to test all the kit before we went out, which they had. They did all their tests. The only problem was they tested the kit, but it didn't all. By the time we got it all out again, it didn't all work. So we had the stand, we had everything set up ready. We had a very involved demonstration that relied on a VR headset being worn by the person that was going to be in the demo. VR headset didn't work. This is 7:30 the night before the expo opens. Luckily, it was a standard VR headset. It wasn't anything special. So in theory, we can get another one. And we had another one back at the office. But that meant one of us was going to have to go back and get the headset and hope that one didn't have a problem too, or we had to buy another one. So there's me on the phone trying to find places, and I'm going through all listings on PC World and Currys and Amazon, trying to find somewhere that had one of these headsets available. Found one, just one in London, and that's a big old area with a lot of places that sell this stuff. One set, like, okay, it's 2 miles away from the place we're at. Get downstairs. I jump in a taxi with the team. I was like, right, we're going to go there. We're going to get the kit. Get stuck in traffic. It's 10 minutes until this place closes. There's a mile. And I'm not the fittest person in the world. For some reason, I got it into my head that the best thing I could do at that moment was leave all my stuff behind. I was wearing a big, thick, heavy coat as well for some reason. Jump out of the taxi, leave all the stuff with the teammates, and run the last mile.
Right.
I collapsed through the shop doors with 2 minutes to go before they closed. They were locking up as I collapsed through the doors. They brought a chair over, sat me down. They're like, "Well, what do you need?" I was like, I need it. And they're like, "Okay, just calm down, breathe. We'll come find you in a minute." Came back and they found me, and they're like, "No, we haven't got one." They said they had one, but then, as it turned out, they didn't actually have one on the shelf. They could get one for the next morning at 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock, we're there back outside the door waiting. We picked it up, we took it to the show. We had it up and running by 10 o'clock, which is when the show opened. The lesson, though, there is if you're relying on some sort of piece of technology, always have a backup. No matter how well tested it is, no matter what support you've got with you, have a backup.
All right. That's an interesting one and quite a lesson to learn from it. So, Phil, can you quickly tell us about your framework, the potato marketing method? So, what's it about?
So it's all about getting the foundations right. And the foundations in marketing are pretty straightforward. You need a marketing strategy, you need a marketing plan, and you need to get the essentials done, and you need to get them done right. Because from there, you can build all of the fun, interesting parts of marketing off the top of it. The problem is strategy, planning, and the fundamental parts are things that people don't really want to do, but they know they should, but they'll always find a reason that they don't get done. Without strategy, you've got no real guidelines on what you're trying to achieve. The strategy relates back to the business strategy as well, because without relating it back to the business strategy, again, you don't know where you're trying to go, what's trying to drive the growth. Without a plan, you've got nothing tying the strategy to the activity. Without the activities, well, you've got a lovely strategy, got a lovely plan, but you're not doing anything. And without strategy, the activities you're doing, you're literally just throwing money and resource at the wall and hoping something sticks. So that's essentially what the potato marketing method helps you achieve. It's walking you through step by step. There is a fourth element to the potato. It sits within the strategy space. It's doing an audit. If you don't sit down and do an audit of your marketing function on a regular basis, you don't actually know what's working and what's not. And doing that audit on a regular basis, it becomes your benchmark. So you know what your growth looks like. And there's clients we've been working with for years, and it's sort of like every year we can go back to the previous one. When you look at the new one, what's working, what's not, has something had a particularly strong impact this year. Then we can look back, then we can start drilling down into why. I mean, obviously we're monitoring it all the time as well, but it tells a bigger picture when you look back at a year to the next one. So we've got one at the moment where they were looking at, say that it's their social engagement. Their social engagement has always been low end of average. This year, it's been low end of average up to the middle, but the space that they target is quite difficult to get high engagement, because it's a very dry topic. The second half of this year, we've seen something like a 400% growth, because we've actually switched on. So we've switched, and that has driven more organic engagement as well. So we can see which levers we're pulling because we've created that benchmark at the beginning of the year. That's the potato marketing method.
Okay, fantastic. So, Phil, for the business owner listening right now who feels like their marketing is just burning cash and nothing is working, they're in the middle of a marketing field. So, what's the first fundamental step you tell them to take, to stop the bleeding?
Something in your mix is working. And also to actually sit down and look at what you're trying to achieve. We've had this conversation with a lot of prospective clients. The question is always, what do you actually want to achieve? The answer is 99 times out of 100, always the same thing. We want more leads. And now I disagree with that. And if that's the only thing that you're measuring the success of your marketing on, then you need to stop and you need to take a look at what you're doing and actually look at what success you've got, because your success may take different forms. Let's say your sales cycle is 3 years, your decision cycle before that might be 2 years. So somebody engaging with you now and somebody being present and going on your website now might take 2 years before they're ready to make a decision. They're not a lead yet because you don't know who they are, but they've started engaging with you. They've connected with and engaged with your content on social media. They've been on your website. They might even, if you're lucky and really lucky, signed up for your email newsletters. And now at least you can say, oh, well, we've grown our email marketing list. Great. We've also grown our website traffic. We've grown inquiries through our website. If you're doing these things, there are so many elements that you can consider success. A failure isn't only a failure if nothing works. So
Mm,
it's take a
mm,
stop, review what's
that's
going
deep.
on. I don't do deep normally, but it's true. The failure is
Yeah.
only a real failure if there's nothing working, and you've got to actually stop and take a look and see what's there before you can really say that nothing's worked. And we've had this conversation recently with a client about a campaign. The campaign itself has not been a success in the traditional sense, but it has in other senses, because despite the fact that it's not generating hundreds and hundreds of leads, thousands and thousands more people know who the company are now that didn't know who they were before. And so, like, your visibility has significantly improved. Now, we can't take that to the bank and go, oh, we've got loads more visibility, but next year we can then tack on the next set of activities, which retargets those people and drives those people back in to then become a valid person and a valid lead. The first thing I would say to do is sit down and take stock of your marketing. List out all the activities you're doing, put numbers against them in terms of 1, a priority, 2, how much you're spending in cold hard cash, 3, how much time each one is taking. If you're a small business owner and you're still wearing the marketing hat, then you know those numbers. If you've got a team and you've got somebody else looking after the marketing, make them fill this in, and then go through and go, right, what impact has this had? And the impact is, has it raised visibility? Yes or no. Don't even go any deeper than that. Just yes or no. Has it directly generated any leads? Yes or no. Is it worth the time that's been invested in it and the cash that's been invested in it? Yes or no. You can do those 2 separate questions. And if you get enough yeses on each line, you know those parts are working. If you get
Great.
a lot of no, if you get a line with no's on it and only no's, go in deeper. Find the element within that does work. And if it does, if you can't find an element within it that does, it's a very good chance you can probably drop it. But weigh it all up and do the measurement.
Great. So, Phil, thank you very much. That's a really great and insightful response from you. So, I'd like to ask, after navigating the highs and lows of 20 years in the industry, so what does being successful truly mean to you now?
Successful to me now versus 20 years ago. 20 years ago, I just wanted to make sure that I had a job. And I wasn't really thinking of marketing as a career. In fact, 20 years ago, I was just about to leave actually 20 years ago and a month, I was about to hand my notice in at a company that I was working for in the IT space. It was the IT department, but we're also seen as the marketing department because marketing then involved a computer. And this was a foreign concept for them, basically because we built websites. And at that point, I was only just about not hand coding them. So I didn't really see marketing as a career. I left, I went to university, I came out, ended up back in marketing again by accident. And so, well, success at the time was very much, am I alive? Am I enjoying myself? And do I have nice shiny things? Because I was young, stupid, and just chasing shiny objects. Now success looks much more upon, do people value my opinion?
Mm,
Do people ask me questions about what we do, how I work? Do they ask for my input on
all right.
on how to impact them? I mean, yeah, okay, fair enough. I still want a Porsche, but it's not overly practical when you've got 2 children, so that's probably not happening,
All
or at
right.
least anytime soon. But it is
Right.
more about people's opinion and people's perception of what I can help them with than just chasing shiny objects.
All right. So, finally, Phil, for our listeners who want to learn more about your framework or connect with you, where is the best place for them to go?
So best place to go is probably our website or my LinkedIn profile. So our website is marketingmanage.agency. LinkedIn profile is linkedin.com/c/Philip Bacon with 1 L. I mean, I'm sure This will be in the links anyway. And then on my profile on LinkedIn, you can find your way to our potato marketing scorecard, which will help you work out where you sit as a potato. And we're not talking new potatoes all the way through to russets. We're talking sort of raw all the way to fully roasted. And roasted in this case is a good thing.
All right. Yes, so Phil, it's been a really great and insightful conversation with you, and I'm indeed excited and honored to have you on the show today.
Thank you very much, Ezekiel. It's been a pleasure.